How are French businesses coping with COVID-19? Welcome to People and Profit. This week we're at the annual gathering of the French Business Federation, Medef, the event taking place outdoors at the Paris-Longchamp racecourse. Coming up, waiting for a recovery plan as the French government prepares to unveil fresh stimulus, we're asking businesses what they want. We'll hear from entrepreneurs how they've navigated the coronavirus crisis. Plus, the big shifts in doing business. What will the lasting effects of the pandemic be? Business groups like Medef are trying to be optimistic about the future, but the outlook is pretty bleak. The OECD expects the French economy to shrink by more than 11% this year, one of the worst slumps in the EU. Many companies are surviving thanks to government help, but there are warnings of an avalanche of bankruptcies to come. One respected economic think tank says as many as 90,000 companies could go bust this year, an increase of 80%. Then there's the huge impact on jobs. The organisation that runs France's unemployment insurance says that 900,000 jobs could be lost by the end of 2020. So how are entrepreneurs feeling about all of that? I've been speaking to some of those attending this event.
2020, well, it was certainly not a normal year, to put it that way. I believe it's a very special year. I will certainly not forget until I die. With a lot of stress, with a lot of changes, with a lot of fights, to get things done.
But it's been obviously a very, very difficult year because we are in tourism, in culture, in event industry, so obviously it's been very, very tough. We have been down by 100% for 3 months in terms of turnover. Now we're trying to go ahead and to get turnover back in a way. So we should end this year by a decrease by around 50% of turnover this year. Yes.
2020 was quite good for me. I did 1 year of business in only 2 months, and it's quite good for the moment, still for the moment, because temp agencies are really not digitalized for the moment. So they wanted to have the kind of digitalization to continue their business.
We hope that the end of the year is going to be good. You know, that the dynamic that was created during the summer season is going to last when school, for example, starts again, but we are very careful, because of the months that were closed, that of course had an impact on our activity.
I get the sense that you're not optimistic about the future.
The future, the future is for 2 months or for 2 years. For 2 months it's very difficult. For 2 years, I think the events will come back, and they will have some exhibitions more, etc., etc. So I have hope. As an entrepreneur, we'll always have hope.
I'm joined now by Fabrice Lassèche, who's the Vice President and spokesperson for Medef. Fabrice, thank you very much for joining us. This is not an event like in previous years. We're here wearing our masks. Why did you decide to go ahead with this event this year in person as opposed to virtually?
Because we want to be optimistic. Why? Because we see some signs of the economy recovering right now. The level of activity is now nearly the same than before the crisis. We want to show that entrepreneurs have also a vision of the future. The level, the numbers of companies that create activity is important. The private investment is important. The number of unemployment is decreasing. And everybody say that it will be a catastrophe. We'll have 1 million of people without a job before the year end. To date, it's 50,000. It's a lot for the people that suffer from this situation, but it's not 1 million. And we want to say, hey, look, take a little bit of time to think about the real situation, considering from where we come from, the lockdown, with a completely slowdown of the economy. It's pretty good. The recovery, the bounce back has been quite fast. Of course, there are some sectors that suffer: tourism, hotels, restaurants, transportation. But we have this duty of also bringing some optimism, because in economy, if you don't trust the future, it's even worse you create the effect that you are scared of.
You mentioned there some of the figures so far, but there are warnings of an avalanche of bankruptcies to come later in the year. Is that what you're expecting as well?
Look, we are not here to challenge the fact that the situation is difficult for a number of companies and sectors. We just want to state very clearly that you speak about bankruptcy. For now, the level of bankruptcy is not bigger than before. You know, the state has put a huge amount of loans into the economy, around 140 billion with a state guarantee. You know, only 1/3 of the company has used this amount. That means that all this cash money is in the accounts of the company. It was like a precaution.
But if the activity doesn't come back, there's
Yes.
still loans. Those companies need to start making money to be able to survive.
No, you have a really good point here. The most important now is to have the economy going up again at the level that we know before. We are not so far. We are around 90%. But the 10% gap means a lot of problems for the company that suffer from this and for the economy as a whole. And to reach 100%, we need one, that the sanitary situation, that the pandemic is handled, and this is thanks to the collective intelligence that we will manage this with the protection, with the safety measures, with the vaccine, with the research, and no doubt about it. It will have a end. It will have an end. So we prepare this. And the second point is to have some measures like the state will suggest or in the recovery package, like to have less tax for the companies that produce in France. You know that we have an unbalance compared to the other European countries. So we want to find the same level of competition, a level playing field. And we have this announcement from the government that the trajectory of the tax, of the decrease of the, for example, tax on corporations, will still go on. That means it will be still reduced as expected. And it is very important to have a stability.
Businesses have gotten a lot of help from the government during this crisis. Have businesses been good partners up to now, and will they be good partners in the future? Because someone's going to have to pay for all of these measures as well.
Look, everybody can say we can do better, we can optimize things, they could have done this or this. The reality is that the partial activity scheme in France allowed to support the salary of many employees. The state stepped in to pay for the people when the lockdown was active. And this allowed the people to keep some bargaining, to keep some money, and to have their power to purchase things that is remain safe. One. Second, all the money that has been lended to company has helped this company to overcome the crisis. So tremendous things have been done. Now what is important is the growth, because you cannot have a healthy economy only by supporting companies with the state. We are not entrepreneurs to have help from the state. We want to be free and want to earn our own money. And for this, we need a very big recovery plan that will help to stimulate the economy to find again the basics of a normal economy, which is not an economy that is administered by the state.
Fabrice Le Sachet, Medef spokesperson, thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, let's go back to our entrepreneurs now. I've been asking them what they think the biggest shift in how they do business will be after this crisis.
People have found that their company was not a way of getting money, of earning money, but also an opportunity to have quite a social life, to learn new things and to progress in life in a way. So this relationship to work might have changed back to a better way of working together.
Everybody's working at home or in co-working. On 2 days by month, we go to do a kind of fun in Bordeaux or Paris or Nice or in Corsica. So it's the biggest change for my business today, how we work.
So it's very difficult to know if they want to come back to work. Some people, I think, they will not come back.
Focusing on local, regional, and national visitors and clients is something that we have rediscovered. And I think the summer season shows that it was the opportunity for people to rediscover their country and also their region.
I believe the main lesson for me, we need to digitalize more and more the healthcare sector, the justice sector, the notary public, and, in order to be better prepared for COVID-25, COVID-30, etc., etc.
That's it from us at the Medef meeting, but you can get in touch with your thoughts on social media. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Tout en n'ayant pas les coups.
For many of these kids, it's their first taste of the ancient sport of chess. Every week, about 100 of them gather at this club in a rundown area of Lagos to learn the basics of this mentally demanding sport.
We teach them the beginners, as in the basics, the name of the chess pieces, their points, the values, then how many squares are in the chessboard, and how a pawn moves and attacks.
Under this unassuming tent set up in the courtyard of a bar, Tunde Onakoya is handing out tips. He grew up in this deprived area and went on to become a professional chess player, making him a local success story.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the true mark of a champion is being able to rise.
1 year ago, he set up the Chess in Slums project to introduce disadvantaged children to the game. The activity gets them off the streets, doing something productive with their time. And Onakoya says the lessons learned in chess can be applied to life.
They're learning soft skills from playing chess, skills like critical thinking, like good communication skills, creativity. They're learning how to think strategically. They're learning problem-solving skills, and these skills are skills that will be relevant throughout their existence.
And a few lessons in, the children are happy with the results so far.
Make me to think fast, to understand something quickly.
Chess make me calculate fast.
For the most dedicated players, chess might just be able to provide a ticket to a better life, helping them get back into education. Jamiu is one of the club's best players. He lives in this shantytown with his disabled mother. After he won a tournament in April, an impressed donor sponsored his secondary education.
Chess is helping me to be a mechanical engineer by sending me to school and buying me books to read. I want to be a mechanical engineer when I grow up.
And so this sport, which can be traced all the way back to 6th century India, is once more proving its longevity by transforming lives in the slums of Lagos.